Film Club.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Film Club. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Harrison, and with me, as always, it's Andy Donaldson.
Hello.
Every week in Film Club, we invite you along to watch a film with us, and this week we are taking a look at Nomadland.
Tells the story of Fern, who lost her husband and is taken to a nomadic lifestyle of travelling in a van, living in a van, meeting like-minded people around the states, and taking odd jobs here and there, such as Amazon, such as fruit, veg picking plants. And it tells a very, very unorthodox but very exceptionally interesting story. The majority of people, at least half the people, are actually, people living that lifestyle, nomads, like non-actors. Mm-hmm. And how Chloé Zhao has managed to direct them into this film and like pull it together into this incredibly concise structure is absolutely sensational.
Chloé Zhao has sort of said in the past that she is a filmmaker who is driven by projects that she loves. She's not someone who's just going to be a gun for hire. And I think that really shows in Nomadland. It's the only type of film that you can make when you have a undying passion and love, not necessarily for the subject, but an intrigue to find out about the subject. It sort of takes a bit of documentary and it sort of takes a bit of drama and it smacks the two of them together.
She directs it and she also wrote the screenplay and she edited it as well. She did the editing.
We have working filmmakers like the Coens who will write and direct and edit their own work. We end up inevitably calling those people auteurs. Although I'm not yet familiar with the rest of Chloé Zhao's work, there is auteur fingerprints all over this. And I think it's so clear how integral she and Frances McDormand were to making this work.
For those who don't know, Frances McDormand produced this and actually found the project first and approached Chloé Zhao.
You can tell that a lot of moments in this film, they're not scripted in a strict way. It's very clear there are at least 3 or 4 moments in this film that are documentary interviews. There's the moments in which there's a couple of the nomads here, Linda May and Charlene Swanky, where they give these incredible monologues. They give these incredible, essentially they are responses to interview questions. And it's clear that like off screen somewhere, it's like Chloé Zhao asking these questions.
Yeah, the nests and the birds.
Yeah, perfect example. That is absolutely astounding, that monologue. That's from
it really is.
Charlene Swanky.
And the little babies are hatching out and eggshells are falling out of the nest, landing on the water and floating on the water, these little white shells. It was just so awesome. I felt like I'd done enough. My life was complete. If I died right then, that moment, I'd be perfectly fine.
No, it is natural. The whole film is just pure natural.
Because this film clearly heavily inspired by Badlands. Chloé Zhao is a sort of self-confessed student of the Terrence Malick filmmaking school. And I was wondering how that sort of like landed with you, because considering he is your arch nemesis.
Yeah, but at least Chloé Zhao was not like heavily exposition of bloody philosophy and like kind of these artsy kind of moments where you're trying to compile it together. There were these kind of monologues that he's written that's just like, oh yeah mate, just play the film. So what you're saying then in terms of her being an auteur is it reminded me a lot of Gareth Edwards when he approached Monsters, how he got into the van, and because what they did is the production team actually lived in vans during the shooting of this film. There is something I need to talk about, and I'm sure you will as well. The cinematography, which is done by her partner, and that is Joshua James Richards. Oh my God, there's some of the shots, mate. Some of the shots of like, especially like Arizona. I mean, me and you love Arizona. We, especially yourself, we been there before, and some of the scenery and some of the picturesque scenery and shots and the colours and how he's managed to pull that together. And as I said, in a natural environment.
I love the way he puts the subjects very much in the locations. I know that sounds like a redundant statement, but it's not a camera work and it's not a style that will oogle the environment and then oogle the characters. It's very much about integration. it's about her exploring those environments, sometimes in a very tactful way and sometimes in an emotional way. Sometimes it's about her having these very difficult conversations. You mentioned earlier the one with Charlene Swanky, and there's the challenging conversation with Linda May, where she talks about feeling like she was going to commit suicide. And that's an honest story from Linda May. That's not a scripted piece of narrative.
Really?
That's an honest recount of what she was going through at the time. And then there's the physical exploration of, like, I love the moment where she goes and explores some of the rocks. I can't quite remember where they are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, there's that fantastic piece of geographical exploration when she goes back to her house at the very end, or back to her town, Empire.
It's just desolate.
Yeah, and, you know, we've driven through ghost towns before, and they are eerie and they are unsettling, but there's also an element of beauty in that sadness, and they capture that perfectly.
We kind of can't talk about this film without actually mentioning Frances McDormand. She kills every appearance that she's in. She just absolutely storms through every scene. Her character, she's incredible and one of the actual icons of our era in terms of actresses. I was so happy with the performance. I was so happy with her kind of reined back performance, how she is. I mean, look at Three Billboards, where she's a bit more kind of vocal. She's a bit more upfront with people, whereas in this, it's so subdued. But there's those moments where she's like not afraid to kind of show that emotion. A great example is that end scene, but also in the moments where she's in the van and she's scared, she's eating the chicken and someone knocks on the door saying, "Oh, you know, you're not allowed to stay here," and you can see her visibly shocked and shaken up, and you know,
there's range to it that feels so natural. And it's those moments of vulnerability and there's moments of humor, and that makes like a person feel real. And she gets so like submerged in the role.
A lot of people don't understand the value of that, but it's not something like we can. I live in there. It's my home.
I was maybe 2/3 the way through, and something struck me. Like, I'm getting this feeling of like, this feels really, this is England.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is. Ludovico AndHeAndI.
Perfect.
He's an Italian pianist. He's a composer, pianist, and he writes some of the most beautiful music you'll hopefully ever listen to. Because this film, like, really emotionally hit me. Like, films don't normally do, but, you know, especially that end scene when she's in the house, I was, like, tearing up there, man. I'm not going to lie. Especially with the combination of music. Like, there's a piece that he uses, AndHeAndI, is called Low Mist on the day 3, and 7 Days Walking, day 3. It moves you as this film moves you. It's a very, 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 very good combination. I think what Chloé Zhao's managed to do with, you know, pulling this film together and actually realizing whether it was her or whether it was someone else, but actually, you know, combining, stitching that music within a film like this is just such a bold and exceptionally good move.
It's a film that brings a really unique voice. It's a film that shines a light onto a fascinating and a very delicate subject matter, but it does it all with such a heart of gold. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to see more of Chloé Zhao's work.
So there is Nomadland. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of Nomadland, or you can hit us up on Twitter, as always. But Andy and I are going to be back once again next week, where we're going to take a look at The Glass Castle.
There's another one by Destin Daniel Cretton. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen it.
So until then, get watching.
Cheers.